tired of picking up the phone for clients that don't mean anything to me. It's not giving me any completeness. I'm feeling like still emptiness. I'm going to sleep at night having to wake up stressed out because I still have to maintain clientele, maintain professionalism, maintain proper etiquette, things that I condition myself to do. It's not really my natural ability. My natural ability was raising kids. So I had to look in the mirror and say, look, let's do what I do best. Let's do what I do best because when I started out raising kids, I literally had to change my life. I had a professional basketball career, and I looked in the mirror that time and I said, this has to stop for my oldest son so he doesn't grow up like I grew up. That started the spark plug. So when my two youngest kids came, my daughter being one of the main provoking ideas for this, I just made sure that I wanted to do something that was fulfilling in my life, man. So when I'm looking back 10, 11 years later, I feel so great about the decisions I made to just advocate realness. Advocate realness. I'm not out selling fake juice, you know, fake envelopes, whatever they selling out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
simply
Mm-hmm.
not only with the community, but with myself. And it gave me a particular platform that I can't change if I wanted to because I kept it real from the start. And real for me was getting involved in a movement that was me, not somebody else. You know what I mean? I don't
Mm-hmm.
go out trying to sell Avon. Avon is not me. You know what I mean? That-
You kind of look like an Avon guy. I'm just playing.
hey, if I had believe me, if I had to in the times where I was really entrepreneuring, I would have done it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, you got to make
I
it
just
work.
yeah, I want it to be a bit more of a natural growth, man. I felt like the growth financially for me was not as natural as I try to make it to be. And it didn't mean nothing to me. It meant a lot of headache. I'm gone all day away from my family, working. I'm trying to impress clients, please clients, satisfy myself. And it was taking time away from my ability to raise a family, to be there for my kids almost every day, like I have been. So I wanted to create a lifestyle like that because my oldest son, I really didn't get a chance to do it. And what I saw was a difference in direction and planning versus how he was raised because the stability level was kind of low. I was chasing money. I'm doing this. He's staying with me. Yes, I'm paying attention to him, but I'm more like paying for the attention. You know what I'm saying? And this
Mm-hmm.
time around, I made sure every single move I made was authentic with business, my life, and everything. So now, today, I can look back and I can go to sleep in peace, man. I don't have confusion like, you know, maybe a lot of other entrepreneurs may have. I am very satisfied with the way I move and the direction I took accordingly.
I love that. So take us back a little bit further here with you personally. You mentioned that you grew up, there was some instability there. And then you mentioned a professional basketball career. And then you mentioned your older son. And then you mentioned three kids. So take us through your journey to through like your life into fatherhood that kind of made you make some of these decisions that you've made along the way.
Probably um, the struggle of a father. You know, it's kind of like you have to experience having a newborn kid. You have to experience those emotions. You have to experience the struggle of the emotion. You don't even know if those emotions are real. I mean, it goes towards your kids, it goes towards your baby mama, whatever that is. You have to put those things in check. You have to find discipline along the way because you're dealing with another person at this point. That was huge for me. That was the turning point for me. Not to be selfish amongst myself and self centered and relate all that to my kids.
And how
At
old
that
were
point,
you when your first son was born?
20
Your
years old,
firstborn. Okay.
I was, so he is now 26. and I'm very blessed to have him in our lives. He's doing amazing, man. He's a stand-up citizen, community leader. He's just doing great, man. I can't really ask for nothing better because I don't know no better. I'm proud of who he is as a person.
100%. 100%.
And so with that being said, I grew up kind of wild. I grew up in a broken household. My parent, well, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give y'all an exclusive. I found my real parents when I was 41. So the parents that I was raised by, they separated from the household when I was around 6 years old. So it led me to scramble around family. My grandmother saved me for some years, but she caught breast cancer. So I just kept scrambling and scrambling, figuring out what's where's the center point. And the center point to me was doing right by my kids. It was doing right by my kids. So when I had kids, it was just time for me to put everything in check, whatever the past was, and build off the present. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that was the point for everything for me. So it was just about being solid with myself, having integrity within myself, and relating that to my kids. You know what I mean? It was just everything for me as a new father, and I didn't want to sway from that.
For sure. And so you mentioned you were in the midst of a professional basketball career, and then you found out you were going to be a father. Like mixed in with that, like what were you? Were you
Yeah.
in college? Were you working toward the league, or where were you at?
Yes, I at the time I was in college. Um, my oldest son Isaiah, his mother got pregnant, and when she gave birth to him, I was in another state, so I had to come to California and make sure I was there for my son. I was there for his birth. I knew that at that moment it was time for a change. It wasn't even hard for me. It took
Mm-hmm.
me like maybe a year to kind of settle in on what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to continue playing basketball or just be a regular guy, like come back to the community and work and live, do what I have to do. You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
was still kind of between that for about a year, and unfortunately, some things happened on the other side that kind of sped that process up. So I made a decision and I had to really drop out of school. I dropped out of college where I was at the time to come take care of him. I got a chance to play professional ball out in Germany, which was amazing, beautiful experience. I enjoyed myself, but like we all know, it's not the NBA. It's not even the G League. So I have to go over to Europe and leave my son. More than a 14-hour flight away or 9-hour
Mm-hmm.
flight. How it was long, and from there I just started like, man, all those confusing things, these emotions and stuff we talk about when we have new kids. I couldn't quite get them and put a grip on all that until I came back and took care of him one on one and go through the struggle myself. I can't. I'm a young man. I can't go out with my friends. My friends going to the club. They're doing everything that a young man would want to do. I can't do that. I got to go back home and take care of my son. You know what I mean? That was
Mm-hmm.
the story right there.
No, I hear you there. I remember when my oldest daughter was born. I was 21, just barely 22. I was already married. We'd been married for maybe a year, a little bit more than a year or so, a year and a half.
Right.
So we got pregnant within that first year of being married, and the whole nine and whatnot. And I was working at a Sonic. I was the general manager of a Sonic, and
Okay.
it was um it was hard. It was really hard because I know exactly what you're talking about. That roller coaster of emotions. Like it was like I remember. I've never really like shared this story, but I was very angry in that delivery room. Like I
Yeah.
was on a roller coaster of emotions because I left work. Um, I had been denied some time off for bonding and whatnot. This is Idaho, so Idaho has
Yeah.
some very old laws and whatnot. But I
Right.
was angry in that delivery room. I was pissed off. It seemed like nothing was going. Like the the delivery and everything was fine. Like it was just going really slow. It was just really long. It was nerve wracking, and it was. a struggle because I got so mad at one point that like I left the room because I was so mad, and I cussed at one of the nurses because I felt like she wasn't listening or like hearing me because I was trying to like I don't even remember what I was trying to communicate. I just remember being like so angry just in that moment because like you you lose a part of yourself, you know? Your whole life changing when at that birth. And
That's
looking
right.
back now, I'm like, I was just trying to process what was going on. I was trying to process
That's
all these things in one moment. You know, I was having a little girl, like, didn't know what life was going to look like anymore.